Hello everyone, happy Tuesday. I hope you're having a great week. It's time for another episode of Tuesday Live at 5. This is Lena Gersa. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Cambridge, Ontario, Canada. And today I get to share with you these awesome projects from the gorgeous limited release Christmastime is Here suite. Now this just went live on November 1st and I just had my first chance to play with this on the weekend and I gotta tell you, I love it. Hi Deneen, how are you? I honestly couldn't stop playing with this stuff. It is so beautiful. Now I'm just gonna adjust my lamp here. Let's make sure we got lots of light. There we go. A little shadowy over there. Okay, so I'm going to show you, these are the cards we're going to make, but I'm going to show you the suite. So this suite has, as always, we have our feature products. We have our stamp set and our dies. We have coordinating DSP, embellishments, ribbon, and for the first time ever, a beautiful gift box bracelet. So I'm going to show you closer up what those items look like. So let's start with the stamp set. We're going to be using this today. This stamp set is rather unique in that, first of all, it's a two-parter. Okay, we have one very large, it's missing right now because I'm going to use it. We have a very large image stamp. It's an outline stamp, great for coloring if you are into coloring. And then we have the second set that has all of the images that fill in this one. So you can either choose to color this with your blends or your aqua painter or your watercolor markers, whatever your favorite coloring medium is, or you can actually use your Stamparatus and fill in the image using stamps. Okay, so two options. And the other thing that's really cool about this set is that this large line image is red rubber. However, these images, the ones that are going to fill in that, are photopolymer, making them really easy to place. Okay, so pretty cool that it's two different materials in one set. So that's the first time Stampin' Up's ever done that. So kind of cool. So there's our stamp set. Of course, we have the beautiful dies. Now, this large die coordinates with this image. Okay, it fits perfectly on that image. It also coordinates with some of the images in the DSP, which I'll show you in a minute. So that's to cut out the rows. And then we have two different label shapes. We have these gorgeous sort of finials and then some beautiful filigree. And we're going to use some of those today as well. Okay, so that's the die set that coordinates with the stamp set. And then we have the DSP, and I can't even tell you how much I love this DSP. So this DSP pack, it's great. It's actually kind of like a bulk pack. So if you are wanting to do Christmas cards, this is a great one because you actually get 4 sheets of each pattern, which is awesome. So on each sheet, we have gold. Can you see that gold glinting? So we've got the roses with the gold here. We've got these beautiful roses, and then we've got sort of a tufted look or a chicken wire look. Okay, so those all have the gold foil. And then when we turn those over, we get some more generic Christmas images. I love this paper with the pine cones and the pine boughs. I think that's beautiful. And then we just get sort of a tapestry look and the holly. Okay, so that's the back side. It is beautiful paper, and you're going to see it up close and personal in a few minutes as we work on our projects. Okay, so that's the paper. Then, of course, we have beautiful embellishments. So we have this gorgeous shimmery gold ribbon. It's 1/4 inch wide. Ties like a dream. Really easy to tie. We're going to use some of it today on our projects. Okay, super easy to tie and makes adorable bows. Okay, that's the ribbon. And then of course we have these glittery, sparkly gold embellishments, which are just yummy. So those are enamel shapes with the gold glitter. Okay, really pretty. So that is the suite. Now I have mentioned the unique gift item in this suite, and that is this beautiful bracelet. And I'm going to put this really close to the camera and hope it focuses for me. Can you see? There you go. That's a better look. Those beautiful charms. So we have a rose charm, and then we have the Stampin' Up! Logo charm. Oh, hey, who's here? We've got Deb, we've got Jamie, we've got Claire. Hello, ladies. Hope you're having a good week. I'm just showing off the Christmastime is Here suite. It is absolutely gorgeous, and this bracelet is just so pretty. So if you have someone in your life that is looking at getting you something for Christmas, it makes a great stocking stuffer. This little bracelet is really pretty. Now again, these are only available while supplies last. It does come in a gift box, so all Santa has to do is put a little bow on there and drop it in your stocking, which is a really cute little gift item idea. So that might be something to put on your wish list for Santa. All right, so let's get this out of the way. And we're going to get to stamping. All right, we're going to do, let's see, which one are we doing first? We're going to do this one first. We're going to do some heat embossing today. I don't normally do heat embossing because I don't like making you guys listen to my heat tool, but you know what? This set is too pretty and heat embossing just looks gorgeous with it. So we're going to do it. You're going to have to put up with the heat embosser. All right, so let me get all my stuff here. So we are going to start by stamping in Versamark and heat embossing the rose image in gold. Look at how pretty that is. Just embossed on white cardstock, okay? I didn't color it at all. It's just a beautiful image. So we're going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to pull out my white cardstock here. And number one rule when using heat embossing. Hi, Gail. How are you doing? Hi, Margie. I'm good. You need to use an embossing buddy. If you are someone who doesn't like heat embossing because you never get good results, my first question that I always ask is, are you using an embossing buddy? Because I am someone who didn't think I needed an embossing buddy when I first started stamping. I thought it was kind of a waste of money. And then I couldn't figure out why I was getting lousy results with my heat embossing. And then I realized it was because I needed an embossing buddy. So I'm going to take my Versamark pad to that rose stamp. This is the Lines Art stamp. And I'm going to stamp it just down in that bottom corner. And I kind of want to get, let's do it this way. I want to make sure I get both roses. So we're going to kind of do it in this bottom corner here. So I'm going to stamp in the Versamark. Now you'll notice I've got this mounted on my big block. It does not fit on an E block. And you need the large block or the Stamparatus if you don't have the large block for this stamp. And then I'm going to bring in my tray and my embossing powder. Now, as soon as I bring this tray in, somebody's going to ask me where I got my tray because it happens every time. And I bought this years ago at the dollar store. I have not seen them since. It's actually a beading tray so that you can have your beads go down the funnel back into their container, but it works extremely well for embossing powder as well. So I have a couple of these, which I guard with my life because I know that I will have a hard time finding more. I know you can get them on Amazon. I'm not sure of the pricing, but they are a handy little tool. So what I have done is simply add some embossing powder to my image. Okay, I'm not going to touch that because that is not heat set yet. And then I'm going to bring in my heat tool. And I'm going to stop talking because I can't talk over top of the tool. And I'm going to go ahead and heat this. And I'm going to try and hold it close enough so you can watch the magic happen. This is my favorite thing about heat embossing. So here we go. Okay, sorry about the noise. I hope it was worth it. Look at how pretty that image is. Isn't it gorgeous? It's so shimmery and shiny. So that is all I'm going to do to the image. Like, it is that easy. Just stamp it and heat emboss it in gold and Bob's your uncle. You're done. All right. Okay, so now we are going to build the rest of our card. I have already gone ahead and stamped and heat embossed the sentiment because I figured making you listen twice on the same card was asking a little much. So I am going to go ahead and add this little filigree. So this is cut from gold foil. I use the dies, the Christmastime, or the, what are they called? Roses are the dies, is the name of the die set that coordinates. So this is going to go on sort of centered where my DSP is going to go. So this is some of that beautiful tufted pattern. It's going to go right flush with that right edge of my cardstock panel. So I'm going to go ahead actually and glue this guy to the back of my DSP, and that's going to make it easier to get that glued on where I want it. So I always like to use my grid paper to help me get things straight. So I'm going to just lay that on there. And I'm going to lay my DSP on, and I'm just going to use the holes on the filigree as a guide to make sure I'm getting that on straight. Now I've also just stuck it to my grid paper, but that's okay. We'll pull it up. There we go. Okay, I'll fix that up. Got bent a bit. Okay, then I'm going to add just a little bit more adhesive and add it to my panel here. And I am having, I don't know about you guys, but I have noticed the older I get, the worse my vision is for seeing white against white. Does anybody else have that problem? Like if I lay this down on here, I would have a really hard time seeing where the edge of the white cardstock is. Sign of old age, I suppose. All right, so that is that. Super quick and easy. Now, here I have a gold foil panel. So I have cut, I forgot to mention, this Whisper White cardstock is cut to 5 1/4 by 4 inches, okay? This little DSP strip is 1 by 4. All right, and then my gold foil panel is cut to 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. And you're gonna see when I go to layer this on here, it is gonna have just a teensy little 1/16 of an inch border all the way around. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and glue that down. Now, if you are someone who really likes to conserve paper, you could certainly die cut things out of this. You could die cut your little filigrees and this little piece here out of this because it's going to get covered up, right? I did not have the presence of mind to do that when I was prepping for today, so I just cut a panel, whatever. I actually used scraps to cut all those little pieces. Okay, so there is my panel. And now I'm ready to glue this onto my card base. So here I have a cherry cobbler cardstock base. It is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2 inches, and I've scored it in the middle at 4 1/4. So I'm going to fold in half along the score line, crisp it up with my bone folder, and then go ahead and add some more adhesive to the back. I'm using fast fuse. You can use, oh, my fast fuse is not working with me today. You could use whatever adhesive you prefer. It doesn't really matter for this particular step. And then I'm going to go ahead and center that. And again, I'm going to have just a 1/16 of an inch border all the way around. Okay. All right. Last step is to add our sentiment. So I've already stamped, embossed, and die cut the label. So this is one of those labels that's included in the die set. And I'm going to add my little sort of finials here on either side of my label like that. Okay, so I'm just going to take and add a couple of glue dots to either end of my label. And then I'm just going to adhere these. Now I kind of did it, there's like a little, see the little hole in that finial there? So I kind of lined the point up with that so that it's just sort of peeking out from behind my label. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other end. Lining it up the same way. Okay, so there are my little finials. And then that is going to go on with some dimensionals because, well, everything's better when it's popped, right? Everything's better with bling and everything's better popped. Those are kind of my two mottos in life, or at least in crafting. So we're going to get rid of these backings. And come on, work with me. Oh, the backings don't want to come out. It is really cold in my studio right now. We turn our furnace way down when we're at work, and it was cold here today. And it's chilly down in my studio. Okay, so I'm going to pop this onto the front of my card, right about there. And then we're going to tie a bow. Where did I put my ribbon? There it is. So here I have some of that beautiful gold shimmer ribbon. So I'm going to hold my ribbon between my index and middle fingers. Okay, I'm going to pinch the ribbon to create loops, keeping the ribbon flat. I'm not letting it twist. Okay, I'm keeping it flat. Then I'm going to take my left loop, cross it over the right, and bring it through the little loop that I've created and pull tight. And that gives me a quick and easy, pretty little bow. All right, this ribbon is really forgiving when you're tying a bow. It's good beginner ribbon for bow tying. So then we're gonna trim our tails. Oh, that one's still a little long. We'll get rid of a bit more of that. And we're going to pop this onto the front of our card with a glue dot. So I'm just pressing the knots of the bow into the glue dot, and I'm just going to adhere that just at the corner of the label there. The bow's looking a little wonky. And then the last touch is to add some of these awesome embellishments. Now I'm going to grab my take your pick. because I forgot to bring it over, and these little guys work much better with the Take Your Pick. So I used, actually, what did I do? The 3 smallest sizes. So there are 2 of each size on the sheet. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. So we'll grab one of these guys, and we'll put one here, and one up here, and we'll put another one up here. We'll kind of have it peeking out from behind the label, just like that. Okay, finished. Super easy, right? This would be a great one for mass production. Heat embossing is not a difficult thing, and it is easy to do if you have the right tools. An embossing buddy is a must. And this card is so pretty and so luxurious looking. It would be an awesome Christmas card. All right, I'll just quickly show you what I did on the inside of my sample. I had another little scrap. Hello, Julie. How are you? I'll see you on the replay. Thanks for popping your head in. So I have another scrap of the DSP on a piece of Whisper White cardstock, and then I've stamped another one of the sentiments from the stamp set. Okay, so that is card number 1, done and done. Now we're going to move on to number 2, and this I think is my favorite. I love this card. I was just playing around with different colors and just different ideas the other day, and I came up with this and I love it. So we're going to stamp and heat emboss again. Can you tell what this is heat embossed in? It's heat embossed in the shimmery white embossing powder. And then I'm going to show you how I got that sort of iridescent sort of shimmer on the roses. Okay, so we're going to get right to that one. Bring my goodies over here, along with my baskets. I don't have a big enough desk. I need more room. All right, so here I have a piece of pretty Peacock cardstock. It is cut to 4 by 5 1/4 inches. And job number 1, as always, when heat embossing, is to rub that embossing buddy all over that. Now, the trick when you're doing this is once you've done your embossing buddy, you don't want to be handling that cardstock a whole bunch, okay? Because any oils or adhesives on your fingers are going to get onto that cardstock, and then your powder is going to stick to that, okay? So once you've done your embossing buddy, hands off. Try not to touch it, okay? All right, so now I'm going to bring my Versamark back and ink up my large rose stamp again. And this time I'm going to stamp it twice, once in each corner. So I'm going to do kind of once in the top corner, right here. Okay, can you see that? I don't know how well that shows up on the camera. You can kind of see the ghost of the image there. And then we're going to ink this up again. And this time I'm going to turn so a different part of the stamp is showing. I can do this part. And stamp down here in the corner. Okay, so can you see that there? You'll see it really well once I add the embossing powder. So now I'm going to bring in my shimmery white embossing powder and another tray, and I'm going to sprinkle this, and oh, the magic is just amazing. This is so, so pretty. I love this. So I'm going to sprinkle this on, and look at that. Isn't it pretty? Oh, it's pretty just like that. I wish I could keep it just like that. But we are going to heat it because it's going to make the white pop even more. And that image is just, oh, it's so pretty. All right, so let's get this out of the way. I will just set that aside. I'll put that back in the little pot later. And bring back my heat tool. So again, I'm going to stop talking for a couple minutes while this heats up. And then I'll be back with you. Okay, here we go. Okay, look at how beautiful that is. Isn't that just gorgeous? I thought it was really pretty just as this, but we're going to make it even prettier. Now, I do want to mention a couple of things about heat embossing. As I was doing this, I was thinking, oh, I should remind them about this. So when I see people do heat embossing at my classes, I see a lot of the blow dryer effect. So it's like you're blow drying your hair, right? And you're kind of doing this to your embossed image. And the problem with doing that is you're going to have a couple of problems. One is that you're going to overheat that middle area that is constantly getting heated, okay? And you actually run the risk of scorching it. When you scorch your embossing powder, it actually isn't shiny anymore. It kind of gets dull looking, and it's not nearly as pretty. The other problem that you'll run into is that you will miss areas on the edges by doing this, okay? So you might put your finger on it and then the image smudges because you haven't actually set the corners, okay? So when you're heat embossing, if you were watching me, you'll notice that I started in one area, and then as that area started to set, I moved to the next area. I wasn't going back and forth over things frequently. Okay, so that's just a little tip for heat embossing. If you are not having great success with heat embossing, that's something you may want to just kind of check to see if you're doing that correctly. Okay, all right, now we are going to add some shimmer and shine to these roses. So here I have my silvery shimmer Delicata ink. I've actually added a little blob of re-inker there. And I've got my aqua painter, okay? And all I'm going to do is take and pick up a little bit of that ink with my aqua painter. And then I'm going to just brush it over my roses. Okay, and I want to get that to spread. Now I took a lot of ink there. I probably shouldn't have taken that much. So I'm going to squeeze just a bit of water just to help that move around. You don't need a whole lot of ink for this effect. The more ink you add, the more your rose is going to stand out, which is fine. I kind of like the shimmery effect, but we're just going to play with this and see if we can get some of this to move because I took a little bit too much. I was talking and not paying attention to what I was doing. Oh well, we'll have a dark and shimmery rose. It'll be silvery instead of shimmery, which is okay. So I'm just going to squeeze a little bit more water to get this. There we go. Now it's moving. To get this ink moving around a little bit. There we go. Now it's doing what I want. So I'm kind of washing this ink over the rose image. And it's going to just make it pop from that background. So this is really quick. I'm not trying to stay in the lines or be super careful. I'm just filling in all of the petals on the rose. Okay. And as I squeeze a bit of water out of my aqua painter, I can move it around a little bit more. Okay. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? Look how beautiful that is. So pretty. Okay. So now we're going to do our other one. You know, as I was doing this, I was thinking I have a very good friend, my teaching partner at school, actually, whose anniversary is on December 30th. And would this not be just a gorgeous wedding anniversary card? Like, so pretty. I'm not sure if this is a petal, but I'm going to make it a petal because it's only a partial image. So, yeah, we're going to color it. Who cares? No one will know the difference. All right, just fill in the rest of this here. And again, my aqua painter is nearly empty, which is why I'm not getting a lot of water out of this, but that's okay. You get the idea. Okay, but isn't that pretty? Just look at how gorgeous that is. Oh, so pretty. Hey, Jen, how are ya? How are things in Florida? All right, so there is my background. So pretty. Now that's going to take a minute to dry because it is wet. I did use a fair bit of water to move that ink around. So I might just blitz it with my heat tool, but I'll set it aside for a minute and we will assemble our little label here. So here I have a Vellum label. Okay, it's cut from our Vellum cardstock, and I actually ran it through. I cut it with the stitch nested label dies. Okay, and then I ran it through my subtle embossing folder, and I love the way it kind of looks frosted. Isn't that kind of a cool look? I just thought that was a really neat texture. So I used that as my background, and then I die cut the word Merry using the Merry Christmas dies. These were in last year's annual catalog and are still available. And I cut it from silver glimmer paper. because this is so silvery and shimmery. I just thought it was perfect on there. So I'm just going to go ahead and glue this down on my vellum. Now I have used some of our now retired the multi-purpose adhesive sheets that we used to carry. We no longer carry those. I know you can still get them, but if you do not have them, you can certainly use your fine tip glue. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and stick this down right on my label. I'm glad you're doing well, Jen. Stick this down right here. Okay, and then here I have a little strip, just a half-inch strip of white cardstock, and I have I lost my ampersand. My ampersand isn't as sticky as it could be. It's time to give it a wash, but I'm gonna see if I can get this on here the way it was so that I can stamp my and bright. Let's try that and see how it looks. Anytime I'm doing stamps where I've lined up words, I always do a test to see if it's straight. Yeah, that's not bad. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and stamp that on my little strip in pretty Peacock ink. Okay, just like that. And then I'm going to do my little tailored tag punch trick, which you've probably seen me do. I do it almost every week. Hi, Debbie. How are ya? So I'm going to actually trim some of this off because my strip is a little on the long side. So I'm going to pop this into the punch until I see that T, and then I'm going to back it off a little bit and center it, and there is my banner end. Okay, this little trick is pretty much all I use this punch for now. I like the label, but I use this far, far more. So same thing on this end, put it in till you see the sentiment, back it out, and there is your perfect little banner. Okay. So then this I popped up onto my little label here. I'm just going to trim a little bit of my dimensional backing. I find that fits perfectly on these little strips. And we're going to just pop that on to the bottom of our label. I think that's straight-ish, not bad. And then this is going to get glued onto the back of onto my background piece. So I am going to just add, and the nice thing about embossing this vellum is when you add the adhesive, you don't see it. So one of the tricks with vellum is figuring out how to hide your glue, right? So this little trick, by embossing it, you don't actually see your adhesive when you apply it. Okay, isn't that pretty? Oh, so pretty. Okay, last step, I have a ready-made card base. This is one of our silver foil card bases. These are in the annual catalog, and you get, I think, 20 of them. 20 of them with envelopes. I can't remember the price offhand. I will post that in the description afterwards. So we have that gorgeous silver foil border. So I'm going to go ahead and fold this card base in half along my score line. And this is going to get glued on. So you remember how I did that gold foil layer on my last card? Well, this one, I don't need to use gold foil because the card base already has that foil layer, okay? So I'm just gonna go ahead and adhere this right to my card base. And it's gonna overlap that silver foil, so I'm not gonna see any of the white underneath, which is just fine with me, because then I get that beautiful silver edge, okay? Isn't that pretty? Oh, so, so pretty. All right, now, this is my last little trick, and I've done this before, but I'm gonna show you again. So I'm gonna bring back my aqua painter. I'm hoping there's enough water in here for me to finish this. I'm gonna pick up a little bit more of that silver ink, and I'm going to do a spatter effect on my background here. So I'm just taking and flicking my aqua painter against the lid, and I'm gonna get really subtle silver shimmer. I'm not sure how well that shows. Can you see that, you guys? I think it shows. Not too badly. Oh yeah, there, you can see it down there. All right, you like that? So pretty, so easy. Doesn't require coloring. So I know many of us don't want to do a whole lot of coloring on our Christmas cards because we have a lot of them to make. This one, no coloring required. It's just a quick little wash with your aqua painter. Okay. So then my last touch on this one, because we are all about the silver, I'm going to use a few silver metallic pearls just to add a little bit of bling to my design here. And we'll just pop them on. Just like that. Isn't that pretty? Oh, I love it. Love it, love it, love it. All right, let's get these out of the way. And we're going to get on to our last project. Oh, I just dropped my silver ink. All right, This last project is super quick. You thought this one was quick and easy? Huh, what do you see this one? All right, this one, can you believe the only stamping on this card is the sentiment? Okay, this whole card is all about the DSP. So I wanted to showcase just how beautiful this DSP is for you. And this card absolutely does that. So let me show you how this works. I'm going to bring in one of the pieces of the DSP. Okay, so this is it here. And I'm also going to grab my large die. All right, so this image is exactly the same as that stamped rose image that we were using, right? So I can take my die and fit that over that rose and die cut it out. Okay, so I get 1, 2, 3, 4 full roses on a sheet. Okay, and then you can get a nice partial rose. You can do some really cool things with that partial part at the top there. Okay, so and then these ones, I'm going to show you a project I did to use up these guys as well in a few minutes. Okay, but let me show you how I put this one together. So I started with a piece of that green sort of tapestry looking DSP. It's got the roses on the other side. And then, so this is 4 by 5¼ inches. And then I have a 4 by 4 inch square of that sort of tufted look. Okay. And it's going to get glued right onto that green piece. So we'll just add a little bit of fast fuse and glue this guy on. And it's about, well, it's just a little bit less than 3/4 of an inch. Well, no, yeah, a little bit less than 3/4 of an inch, top and bottom. So again, I'm just going to pop that on there. Oh, that's not very straight at all. Whatever. You get the idea. This is what happens when you're working off to the side. All right, so then I'm going to go ahead and glue this onto a card base. So this is 4¼ by 11 inches. I've scored it in the middle at 5½. Fold in half along my score line. And then, before I do that, I'm going to add my ribbon. I almost forgot. Almost had a mess, but I saved it. Okay, so I have some of that gold shimmer ribbon. I'm going to add a little bit of it to my DSP here. I'm putting it about 1¼ inch up from the bottom of the red. Okay, and we'll just trim that off and adhere it to the back. So I'm just using glue dots to adhere my little strip to the back. No need to put ribbon all the way around your card because nobody sees that, right? So no need to waste that beautiful ribbon. And then we can go ahead and glue this onto our card base. Pop it on there, just like that. There we go. Okay. And now I have this gorgeous die cut rose. Okay, so this is die cut from that DSP. I did not do a single thing to this. The only thing that I'm going to do is add a little wink of Stella, which I didn't even bring over here. I will grab it in a minute. But that's it. Okay, I added a little bit of shimmer to the rose and that's it. It's so, so pretty. So this is going to go onto the front of my card with some dimensionals. So we'll just pop a few of these on here all the way around and then a couple in the middle so it doesn't get squished. And get rid of our backings. Come on. There we go. I'm going to put one more dimensional down here just so that stays put. And then how you orient this is kind of up to you. I like having the small rose sort of facing upwards. So I'm just going to adhere this onto that red panel. It's okay that it extends off the top a little bit. Okay, you just don't want to do it off to the side too much or it won't fit in your envelope. Okay, then we are going to stamp a sentiment. So I have another little strip of Whisper White. And I have the Wishing You the Gifts of the Season Peace and Joy stamp. This is from the Christmas Rose stamp set. And I only want to use Peace and Joy. So I'm going to bring in my trusty Stampin' Right marker. This is a Mossy Meadow Stampin' Right marker. And using the brush tip, I am going to just ink Peace and Joy because I just want that part of the stamp image. So I'm going to ink that up. Now, what I like to do actually when I do this is stamp once with it and then re-ink. I don't know why that is, but I just find that the second time I get a better image. Call me crazy. Maybe it's just in my head, but that is what I find. So now I'm going to go ahead and stamp that on my little strip here. Okay. And then I'm going to use that same trick with the tailored tag punch. Trim this off a little bit. Woo! Making lots of noise today. And we're going to pop this into the punch and trim off our ends. Same thing on this end. How far in do I need to go? I lost it. Hang on. I need to trim this off. It's messing with me. There we go. Oh my goodness, Butterfingers today. Here we go. For real this time. We're going to center this and pop it out. There we go. There's my Peace and Joy. And then this is going to get adhered just in that top corner. So I'm going to put a glue dot over the part that's going to overlap my popped up rose. And then I'm going to add a dimensional under the part that is going to be over the card so that it lies flat on the front of my card. Okay, so again, when you're trying to get things straight, it's always helpful to have your project that you're working on straight. Okay, just like that. And then we're going to tie another little bow using that same gorgeous gold ribbon. So left over right, around and through. Quick and easy little bow. Play with your loops. Bow tying does not have to be scary. And then we'll trim our ends and add a glue dot to the back of our knot and pop that on right where the behind. Okay, let's trim that tail a little bit. It's a little on the long side. Come here, you. There we go. That's better. All right, last touch again is a few more of those glittery gold enamel shapes. So we'll just add, this is where you can use up some of your larger ones because they look quite nice on here. And then we'll use maybe a medium and then one of these guys. We'll pop one on here like that. Okay, just like that. Super easy. I'll quickly show you what I did on the inside of this one because it's kind of neat. This actually took me longer to do than the front of the card. I added a white panel, and down here I stamped some of the pine branch images from the stamp set. Let me grab it so I can show you. I used this image from the stamp set. So you see these pine branches? They look quite nice when they are stamped. So I added some pine branches and the little pine cone along the bottom edge, and then another one of the sentiments and a stamped off pine cone in behind it. Okay, so that is a super quick and easy card as well. So there are the three that we just made. Now before I go, I want to show you a couple of other ones that I remember how I said I couldn't stop playing with this set? So I'm going to show you a couple of other projects that I did. So do you remember the other roses, the ones that were on the DSP sheet? I'll just show you quickly. The sheets that don't fit in the die. Well, this is a project that I did using those roses. So I just cut with my oval die part of the rose and then put it in behind an heirloom frame in the gold foil, and then just put it on so that same sort of tapestry look and added a sentiment. Isn't that pretty? So quick and easy. Like, I can't even tell you how quick and easy that is. Okay, so there's that one. And then this was my first attempt at doing one with all of the colors filled in. Now, believe it or not, I did this without the Stamparatus. I didn't have my Stamparatus handy. So I thought, oh, I'm just going to see if I can stamp and fill it in myself. And you know what? It's not too bad. I did a pretty decent job. So if you don't have a Stamparatus, it is possible to line these images up and get a really, really nicely filled in image. Okay, so there's that one. And then I, of course, had to pull out my blend. So this one is actually a birthday card because, well, people have birthdays in December. And I thought that this is a nice way to show you that this doesn't have to be for Christmas. Okay, so I colored my roses using Mango Melody, and my little berries using the Pretty Peacock, and my pine cones using Soft Suede, and my leaves using Mossy Meadow, and made a really pretty birthday card. Okay, so lots of options with this awesome suite. Again, it is available while supplies last, so we don't have an end date on this. Once it's gone, it's gone. Okay, there are no more coming. So if this is something that you kind of are on the fence about and you're thinking about, you may want to just jump in and take the plunge, because you may be out of luck if you wait too long. Okay? All right, everybody. That's it for me today. I hope you have a great week. I will see you again next Tuesday. Just a heads up that next Tuesday I'm going to be live at 4:30. So half hour early, special time, because I have to be at a meeting in Kitchener at 5:30. So I will see you next week at 4:30. And in the meantime, take care, be safe, and I will see you soon. Bye for now.